tell me this, yeah. Gotta go down to the altar and repent. I'm yelling, Lord, please forgive me for my sins. You told me, son, I got you and don't you forget. For every Jesus, there's a Judas in the pit. But I can keep you on the kitchen if you wish. I wish my life was so much better than it is. I'm tired of waking up from dreams of how I live. I heard the preacher say that Jesus is the fear. Well, if it's true, then tell me, can you answer this? Can you forgive me for real? Do you forgive me for real? I know I gotta forget my wrongs, yeah. I know I gotta forget my past. I know I gotta forget myself. I know I gotta forget my past. But can you forgive me for real? Can you forgive me for real? I know I gotta forget my wrongs. I know I gotta forget my past. I know I gotta forgive myself. I know I gotta forget my past. But can you forgive? Screaming Jesus like Mike serving, I'm big flexing. I count my blessings in bold letters, so ain't no guessing. I keep that toolie tucked on me, the word is my protection. You scarlet letters can catch a feather, you don't impress me. I'm somewhere between knowing better and doing better. Only difference is now I know that you're here forever. How my life has been spinning, it's like you pulled the lever. All sevens is lottery when we're here together. I will never leave you nor forsake you. That's a promise, no matter what, that you're sticking with it. When I spoke as a child, I understood as a child. But as a man, now I know I'm covered in forgiveness. Forgive me for real. Do you forgive me for real? I know I gotta forget my wrongs. I know I gotta forget my past. I know I gotta forget myself. I know I gotta forget my past. But can you forgive me for real? Can you forgive me for real? Can you forgive me for real? Can you forgive me for real?
What's all it want is look around for anything that'll give me peace. Oh. Something to relieve me from calamity, my anxiety. Oh.
Think it's the best of me. Need you to rescue me.
Step into tomorrow is a remedy. Something next to me. Oh. I'm sick and tired of being up at night, just thinking about it. I'm sick and tired, I fall asleep and now I'm still dreaming about it. It's on my brain, but it's so bad I'm going insane. And if it don't end up going my way, what I'm gonna do or what I'm gonna say. Everybody out here doing their thing. Gotta think of every single sick game. Caught up in the lights, I'm caught up in the name. If being real, I lost my way. Hey, hey. I lost my way. Hey, hey. Where are you? Where are you? What's all it want is look around for anything that'll give me peace. Oh. Something to relieve me from calamity, my anxiety. Oh.
Think it's the best of me. Need you to rescue me.
Step into tomorrow is a remedy. Something next to me. Oh.
You see me every time.
All right. Hey, welcome to the session, Bible Beats and Bars. I guess you're going like, what in the world is going on today? Well, I told y'all this session is a crazy special session. So welcome to the session, Bible Beats and Bars. Make sure you share this one. Like when I tell you this was bananas, yo, it's bananas. Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Seriously. So anyway, let me give you the script. We're gonna get a basic script. I know you see a whole bunch of stuff up here. We're gonna talk a little bit more about it. But I definitely wanted to say thank you for tuning in. Don't forget YouTube, No More Dirty INC. If you know anybody else, say, hey man, you got to check out this show. It's off the chain. All right. So let me give you this one, the script. I'm gonna do this one because this one it's fitting. Genesis chapter 125. And this is my guest. He said, man, we got to do this one. And it's pretty simple. It says, God made the wild animals according to their kinds, the livestock according to their kind, and all creatures that move along the ground according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. We're going to talk. We got a special guest in the building. I'm going to ask him to come on up. This guy right here, man. We are doing something very special. We're going to deal with God's creation and how amazing it is. So I want you to put your hands together for my man, my homie. You already know Critter Mountain's a specialist. We're going to talk about it. What's up, family? Let's do this, bro. All right. So how you doing, fam?
All right, and you?
You good? Listen,
Yeah.
we got a lot of great things to talk about. So first of all, tell them who you are. You got a lot of people watching around the world, and then we're gonna get right in. And then we're gonna do a couple little things, but I definitely wanted to talk about Critter Mountain.
Okay.
We talk about God's creation. We talk about the amazing things that happen in our world, but it all started back in the day,
Way back in the day.
way back in the day. So, Mr. Vaughn, why don't you tell them who you are and tell them what you do? Let's get into the meat of the matter.
All right.
What is your description? I see all of this, and we're gonna talk about it, but let's get in.
Now, Vaughn Mountain.
Pull your mic up to you.
I'm Vaughn Mountain, and I've got a long journey that I've embarked on, and I'm still going on it, and it has to do with animals. I started way back when I was a kid, actually, dealing with rabbits and other sort of domestic animals.
Okay.
Then it started to branch out. I love the exotic world and stuff like that. So as I had the opportunity to have my own place and not infiltrate my mom and dad's home, which
Wait, hold on,
verge to be
wait.
kicked
He's
out.
trying to be all. He's trying to be all acoustically sound. You mean you was bringing all kind of animals in the crib?
Yeah, well,
Hey,
the
Mom,
last straw was
here's a
a
lizard.
snake gave birth in my mom's basement, and and then that
That was
was
a
it.
wrap.
That was a wrap.
And moms don't do snakes.
They gotta
I
go,
don't
or
do
you gotta
snakes.
go.
You know what I'm saying? So you started this. You really had this as a love back in the day,
Way
like
back,
way
yes.
back.
Yes.
So what inspired you? Like, I mean, most people don't do what you do. And we're going to talk about the official terms for each one of the things that you do.
Right.
But I think it's important that we share this when we want to get right in. There's a lot of great things that's happening. So what inspired you to?
Well, I had a love for animals. So we can start off with that. You had a love for animals, but it's just not that. I had family, not just parents, but my aunts and uncles on both sides of my family that were interested and loved the animals too.
Okay.
So they would encourage me, and bring lizards to me and say, "Hey, figure this one out. What is this one? Can you
Really?
name it?" We do stuff like that, and so they helped me. They nurtured that.
Okay.
And so it evolved. As I grew older, I started to expand into more exotic stuff.
Yeah, because this up here is quite exotic. Let me tell y'all something. We were talking backstage before this, and that's why I was like, I want to jump right in before we do our video presentation for our sponsors and what have you. But you were telling me about some wild bobcats. Can you share that with the folk, bro?
Yeah, there's there's a breeder in in Tennessee that has some bobcats, and I've been promised a pair of them, and they have to be cultivated to be around humans, so that we can both accept each other's environments and live in a cohesive environment.
So that means they won't eat us.
Yeah, so they don't attack us, right? So I was wondering if I could have brought one, and but they're not ready, they're not prepared. They're something that I'd have to, being that I'm the one that's up here, I'd have to be able to handle them as well. So
Right.
they'd have to know me personally
Okay.
before I could do something like that. There are some other options. I
Okay.
explained that to you. There's a lady that's local that has some servals.
And what
they're
are servals? Talk to the folk.
they're
What are,
African wildcats. They're
African-
African wildcats. You
and
can
that's the
find-
ones that sit tall and they made
Yeah,
the
they're long,
images
skinny.
and long, skinny, and had
Yeah,
the
and they
full
can run
dignified-
fast, about 50 miles an hour.
Wow, like
the
a cheetah.
The cheetah's faster than they are.
Because
right.
they're 55, 60.
They're
right?
about 60, yeah,
Yeah.
something like that,
Okay.
right? But these guys, they move. They're slender, they're quick, but they look just like a regular house cat with some beautiful markings. So you
Mm.
can mistake them. It's just a lot bigger. They have the temperament of a house cat, so that's why a lot of people keep them as pets. However, they have the appetite of their native area, that their native, like the lions, and
Lions and
others,
tigers.
they can devour some meat.
Wow.
So they eat pounds of meat. They'll eat a whole chicken a day. So you think about it, if you don't have the budget for that, you probably don't want to go ahead and get interested in keeping one of those as pets.
So us getting a bag of cat food is $6, $7, $8, $10 bag is
Right.
expensive. No, you talking about a whole chicken.
A whole chicken
You talking
per
about
meal.
a litter
per
from
meal.
for meal.
And then you're going to feed them more than once a day. So you're going to feed them a whole chicken and probably some parts during the day. So think about that.
I feel like I'm centered in Jurassic Park 2021 right now. So, man, we are excited to have you. Stay where you are. We want to go to our video. We want to talk. We always have a presentation we want to always share with our viewers and our listeners across the country. It's one of our amazing sponsors, a Foundation for a Drug-Free World. And we realize we are living in times where people kind of get caught up and life happens and then we make unwise decisions. And so I want you to check out this video as we prepared for you. And then when we come back, we're going to get in and we're going to dig in and show some light on some of these characters you have here, living characters, God's creation.
Sounds good.
You call them critters, right?
Critters.
And we're going to talk about that, how you came up with that title. Because I was like, yeah, you got a lot of critters for real, man. He kept bringing them in, folk. And I was like, okay, well, hold up. What is that? Hold up. What is that? So we'll be right back. The session by Beats and Bars with our special guest, Mr. Mountain of Critter Mountain, the exotic animal keeper and trainer.
That's right.
Oh, my goodness.
Farmies. By the time you realize that you've started doing it pretty frequently, you're going to be physically addicted, and then you're at a point where you can't stop even if you want to.
Every prescription drug has an effect on you. That's why doctors give them to people. Some people think that because drugs come from a doctor, they're safe. But taking them for recreational use to get high can be just as dangerous and addictive as taking street drugs.
A pill can have a totally different reaction on you than the person it was prescribed for. So a drug that's okay for somebody else could be dangerous for you. Because of potential for abuse and addiction, the DEA puts many prescription drugs in the same category as opium and cocaine.
They're made obviously by pharmaceutical companies.
There's basically 4 different categories: depressants, opiates, and morphine derivatives, stimulants, and antidepressants. They come in capsules, tablets, and liquids.
A lot of people think that taking a prescription medication is okay because it's not illegal. But the truth is that taking a prescription drug or giving a prescription drug is a form of using drugs or drug dealing.
The first time I ever took Xanax was with friends and just had some, and I was curious.
I was curious, and I had a friend that just told me about it, and I wanted to try it, and I tried it.
It was in high school. I remember one of my friends had gotten a tooth pulled, I think it was, and got a prescription of them.
He had an entire bottle, and he was just telling me what it was and if I wanted to try it, and I just went for it.
I was introduced to it by a friend of mine that actually was going to see a psychiatrist to get it.
I was just hearing all of these good things, or these fun things. And it's like you're drunk, you don't have to drink. It's like, oh, they must be great. I'll try one.
It's like, okay, well, here, take these. You'll have a great night. You're going to feel really good. And, it's going to be totally fine.
My best friend in high school, she gave me one because her boyfriend used to take them. And she thought that they made her more comfortable around him. And
more secure about herself. And so she was like, hey, try one, you know.
I'd try anything that anybody had, just test out different prescriptions. And it just kept moving up.
I wasn't picky about what kind I took, whether it was Klonopin or Xanax or Valium. I mean, so many of my friends were getting it prescribed from psychiatrists, and they were going to 2 or 3 different ones a month, so we had a pretty steady flow of it.
I started like going to doctors and, you know, telling them a lie about trying to get Xanaxes, you know, telling them that I couldn't concentrate at school, or I was just nervous or not comfortable around anybody. Then I would start getting prescriptions.
Being that they're prescribed, it was easy to justify to myself that I was probably the kind of guy who needed this kind of thing, and it was okay.
At school, like, I didn't really remember the day, or it made the day go by really quickly. So I got them as often as I could, and I took them as often as I could.
They tend to blur reality quite a bit, and the days sort of run into one another. Days turn into weeks, that turn into months, and you don't realize it just sort of slips away from you.
Because I wasn't experiencing anything that I cared about in life. I didn't have any feelings. I didn't have any emotions.
Kind of like lulled myself into a false sense of security, feeling like I was getting away with stuff, even though I'd still have to deal with it when I came down.
You're constantly high, so you're not yourself. You're not the person that anyone in your life knew you as. You're some stranger to them, and you're mean.
I would steal from my mom. I would steal from my brother. I would act out at family functions. I'd make a fool of myself. I would embarrass them. I would tell them things that I didn't mean, be very hateful.
And it got to the point where my family kicked me out of the house and weren't willing to have me around when I was taking it because of how violent I would get.
Within 24 hours, you're starting to come down and you crash off of it.
Feeling like the worst case of the flu, can't move, can't think, just don't feel like yourself at all.
Feel yourself starting to get depressed, being just less happy with everything around you.
I was very depressed. My panic attacks and anxiety was at a very high point.
I would be very emotional. I would start crying, angry.
When you're in that position, when you're feeling really physically ill and you know that you can get rid of it, it can be gone in 20 minutes. It's just all too easy to reach over and grab some more.
By the time somebody's been addicted for so long, they don't have enough strength left in them to actually try and do that. So it's just easier to stay high.
I would black out and you're like, okay, what happened for the last 2 days? You'd piece things together and you couldn't remember it one bit, like totally black.
When I would black out, I was completely awake, but I have no recollection of what happened. On my way home from the party, I got into 3 different car accidents because I was blacked out and I had no idea what I was doing. Got to my mom's house and the cops were coming. I knew they were coming. My only solution was my plan was to blow up my car in my mom's driveway. So I went out and I set my car on fire.
I passed out at a party. I woke up. The next thing I knew, I was at a hospital, and my friend that I was at the party with told me what happened and said that I took about 20 Xanaxes that night. They called an ambulance, took me to the emergency room, and they had to pump my stomach. They thought I was trying to kill myself, but I was just trying to get high.
I was drinking with the guy, and he kept on like encouraging me to drink more, and I didn't understand. I just didn't really question it. I think I was 16. And then about a few hours later, I woke up in his bed and we were having sex and I started crying and I pushed him off of me. I don't know how he thought that was okay. I don't know how I didn't say no. I don't remember, so I assume that I did, but maybe I didn't. Like you just don't know. When you use Rohypnol and you're forgetting everything, you have no idea what you really did.
A guy that I used to know is on death row now in Arizona because he was on Rohypnol. He took a lot of them and ended up killing somebody.
A buddy of mine continued to go in and out of the bathroom using Ritalin, and he managed to put himself in a state of unconsciousness and jump off a 6-story balcony, and when he hit the ground, he was immediately dead.
I nodded out in a bedroom and woke up to find my friend. He was laid out on the floor. He had overdosed and passed away. He'd been laying there for 2 days. And my friend, this other girl, she was sitting in a chair right where I'd left her, slumped over, blue. I actually had to crawl over 2 dead friends to get out the door.
Even when you come off of it, you're still cloudy in a way. You can't comprehend short-term memory loss.
Things don't seem to be as clear in my mind. Things don't seem to connect as quickly in my mind.
I don't remember any of the times that I was blacked out. Everything that I know from when I was blacked out comes from third party. So there's definitely chunks of my life that I'm missing, and I don't know that I'll ever get them back.
There's weeks of time that I have no idea, what was going on.
The people who want you to buy these drugs don't care. They really don't care about what happens to you. They want the money, and that's really what it comes down to. Otherwise, they just wouldn't do it. They wouldn't make it sound so good. They wouldn't make it sound so interesting. They wouldn't make it sound like this thing that it's going to be this one-time fun thing.
If I knew what the side effects and the consequences, and I knew that I was going to be the way I was, I mean, there would be no way that I would have ever taken Xanax, because still to this day, I have a lot of regrets.
The biggest danger of it is seriously the word of mouth. People talk about it and always talk good about it because they think it's okay. It's not going to hurt you. But it's just as hard on you as a cocaine would be. Eventually, it gets to where it grabs hold of you and sucks you in.
Just because it's readily available, or just because you can get it from your doctor, or just because your mom has it in the medicine cabinet or whatever, doesn't make it okay, and it doesn't mean that it's safe.
I remember when I was little, you got on TV saying, just say no. I'm like, okay, just say no, whatever. But nobody ever says this is going to kill you. This is going to take your life away. This is going to make your family hate you. It's going to make your girlfriend hate you. It's going to make life a living hell. I probably would have listened to him.
Wow, bro. I don't think people realize the impact of using things that we call prescribed drugs. I just don't think we understand the magnitude of how dangerous and how destructive it can actually be, you know? So have you ever run into someone who has had those kind of struggles?
Yes.
And what did you say to them to try and help to encourage them to do something different before I share a few resources?
Well, actually, I worked with the person, and they made a few mistakes. And first time they made a mistake, we covered for them. Second time they made a mistake, we covered for them. And the third time, we knew that we couldn't cover for them. So we gathered. There was a bunch of us that got together, and we spoke to them, and we told them that we were bound by the job to report them.
Right.
But we'd rather him go and tell himself.
Right.
And he did. And it's a good job, because the job said, we're not firing you.
Wow, that's
And they
great.
put him in rehab. And
Right.
and it was a long time. It was about 6-7 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's important. One of the reasons why we're so grateful for Foundation for a Drug-Free World is because one of the things that they do is they provide these resources at no charge. Literally everything that you see we sharing, it's free, because they have individuals that around the world that say, hey man, we believe in what you're doing. We believe in the partnership you have here with No More Dirty. And we most importantly believe that a person, if they get the right help, they can change, or they can be transformed into a better person. So I want to give you a little information. If you don't know how to get support or help, I want to share just a simple number. Like on your cell phone, you dial 211. Just dial that simple 211 and hit talk. And it's a crisis services. And here's what's really great about that is the crisis services is always available 24/7 in every city, every county, and every state. There is a 211 number. So if you're in New York, you're watching us. If you're overseas, there are crisis hotlines. If you're in the local area, we have 211 Crisis Services of North Alabama. And then also, I want to share something from Wellstone. Wellstone is a behavioral service organization that helps with substance abuse and any other disorder, whether that's mental health, whether that is social, physiological counseling, and that's all forms of counseling. But I want to share this with you. I think it's really good. I do it every week. I definitely want to share it, and it's free. This is what it looks like, folks, right here. And it's all it is. It's a deactivation drug packet. Here's what's cool about it. It comes in this little black little wrapping. You open it up, right? And when you open it up, guess what? There's a little packet. Looks like some soot, like black soil or soot. And what you do is you open it up, pour it inside, right? And then you put any of those drugs, anything that is destructive in it, pour a little, about 4 ounces of water, something like this. You seal it, right? Shake it, and guess what? It biodegrades it on the spot.
Wow.
Y'all hear me?
That's good.
Because and we talking about God's creation. This dirt, this salt is all biodegradable. God knew what he was doing when he created the earth and the minerals and stuff. And so if you know somebody who's going through something, or someone who you can always get in touch with us here. You can go 211-TALK. You can give us a ring at 256-698-9749. Go to our website, NoMoreDirty.org, and also make sure that you just say, hey, I need some help. And guess what? We'll get you connected. And it does work. And I use it on my job. I use it everywhere I go. We have packets here. So if ever someone says, hey, I would like this for my group, I would like this for my support group, how can I get in touch with a drug-free world? Just get at us, send us an email at info@NoMoreDirty.org. All right. So I just wanted to kind of share that with you. Now let's get into the main. The main is the main. Let's talk about, man, what you have a title. We were talking about this as well offline. We have in the building a very good friend of mine, been known for a while, actually. We're going to kind of talk a little bit about how I first met you. And let me tell you something. This guy here is truly an amazing person. So let me put on my I don't want to look like you. I want to look like I'm an animal professional. Hold on. You go ahead and give me 1 second. I got my G.I. Joe outfit. So I'm gonna be HBCU specialist.
There you go.
For animals today.
All right.
Okay. My shirt on my shirt. You want to read my shirt, bro?
It says Faith got me living risky.
Today, Faith got me living risky because I'm with this dude who got all kind of exotic animals. So I'm going all the way. So let's talk about your original journey. I lived in New Orleans. Right. Is where we met.
Right.
Tell them what you were doing as far as an occupation, who you were working for, and what you did in that occupation.
I work for the Audubon Institute, and they have aquarium, zoo, nature center, as well as a lot of other animal parks. I work with both the zoo and the aquarium.
Okay.
My jobs there were I was a husbandry.
A little closer.
I was a husbandry staff. That means I looked after the animals, fed, prepped, took care of the animals. Also part of education staff, where I would teach. I was also a collector. I was the curator of the education animal collection. So that means that my job was to take care of those, also to go out and collect animals and add to that.
Okay, wait. So that was real nice. What it means is he would go and grab the alligators out the swamp, bring them to the zoo, sit them in there, touch on them and pet them, say, it's going to be all right. You got a new home. And then he would, and listen, when I was at, I was taking a group, I used to work at the juvenile prison down in New Orleans. And we had a field trip, and we were working on a field trip to bring the boys. And I went to the zoo, right? I got to the zoo, and they was taking me on this little tour, and I'm looking in this tour, and I see this guy diving with the great white shark?
It was sand tiger sharks.
He was diving with a sand tiger shark, feeding it in the tank. I was like, sir, he said, oh, that's Mr. Vaughn there. And I was like, Mr. Who? This guy was feeding, cleaning, hanging out with sharks. And I'm like, he's like this.
Yeah, we scuba dive on the tanks and stuff.
And
yeah.
I was like, come to find out, we hung out at the same church. We was at the same church for a minute. I was like, I saw him. I was like, dude, do you work at? He said, yeah, man. I just go in and I just make sure my pets are good. And I'm like, your pets? This dude was all over. They had the big giant turtles.
Yes,
I mean,
we had the green sea turtles. About 350 pounder. Yeah. And his name was Midas.
Yeah,
Pretty cool. I liked him. He was pretty good.
Yeah, I was like, So you did that, and what you do some other things too, right?
Yes, collect animals. I used to write the programs. So if you went to the aquarium,
Right, the aquarium
and
side.
you interacted, any interactive program would come from my department. If it weren't me, it was part of my staff that would write that and
Wow.
make presentations on that. We'd go and do animal presentations in the communities.
Yeah.
And we'd also do it on television. We, as far as Biloxi, Mississippi, we do the news. Those
Right.
little bits, you come out there and you see what's happening at the zoo today. Well, and my face would pop up with one of these types of animals, or even more dangerous, beaded lizards.
I know. I
beaded
remember.
lizards.
Listen, I was doing the Louisiana jukebox, and there you all would come on between the radio, with the news, and he'd be like this, and his face would pop up a little animated, and he'd be like, "Today, in the zoo, we have." I was like, "Oh man, it's fun."
Yep. We did. What was it WDSU?
Yep.
And Biloxi and Mobile, Alabama.
And
We did
Mobile, correct,
Alabama.
all
That's
down
right.
the
That's
coast.
right. Yeah.
So, how long have you been handling exotic animals before we get into talking about
About
some of-
35 years. A little bit more,
35 years.
Yeah. I'm dating myself, I know, but yeah.
You
a
don't
little
look
more than
35.
years. I don't.
No, you look great.
Oh, great.
Great,
I'll take
great.
it.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about what some of the animals you have here. And will we be able? You going to take some of them out?
I'll take some of them out. Yep.
Okay.
As long as they allow me. Now, let me explain to you.
Yeah, let's talk about how that works.
I don't call them pets really. I call them
Okay.
ambassadors. And the reason is yes, I kind of domesticate them a little bit. They get used to my scent. They get used to me being in their environment, touching them. My son is actually another one who was allowed to do that.
All
but
right.
not everybody can do that. Not everybody will be able to put their hand in with that snake, or even with the ferret sometimes, depending on its mood. And so I allow them to be their own individual animals. I don't break them of their instinctive behavior. There are some things that I will break, such as a snake. I don't feed them live because a live animal calls for an active response.
Okay.
So when they're hunting, they look for movement. So if I put my
Mm.
hand in the snake's environment and move it around, then I'm food. So if I feed it something that's freshly killed, then it's not going to look for movement. It knows its food's going to be laying at this certain point at this certain day, and it'll
Certain
go over there
time.
and eat that. Right.
Okay,
And so
okay.
I can put my hands in there and move it around, and it won't bother me. There are exceptions to the rule. This one is an exception to the rule. This one, it loves motion. So if I put my hand in there, if I'm not careful, she'll strike at me several times.
Hmm.
I understand that behavior, so that's why I'm not really afraid.
Okay.
It's just something that I understand. So I know that if I put my hand in there and she strikes at me, it's acceptable behavior.
Right.
Some of the others is not acceptable. So I have to figure out what's bothering them.
Okay.
Whether it be cold air, music, whatever it is.
Right. So, and we talked about that. So what are some of those things that sound?
Vibrations of sound will
Okay.
bother them. It's a strange thing. The softer the music, the less it troubles them. The more
Mm.
intense the music, it confuses them, and that's the best way I could put it. They seem disoriented. They seem to not know where they are or what's going on, and so the first thing they do is they strike out at anything and everything, including reflections of themselves. If
Really?
they look in the glass and they see a reflection of themselves, they will strike out because they're confused, disoriented, probably at that moment.
So let's do this before we get in. There's you have two titles of
That I
types
go
of
by,
animals
right.
that are the professional title. Could you share those with our listeners and our viewers? So
Well,
that
my
they
main
can get-
forte is dealing with reptiles. And if you want to break down reptiles, I like snakes, but my main love is large monitor lizards. I love monitor lizards. And so the playing around with all these animals and studying them comes under the title herpetologist. So I study
Herpetologist.
herpetologist.
HERBOPE.
Yeah, HERPE.
PE.
Tologist.
Tologist. TOLOGY. Okay. All right. So y'all got that? If you want to fool with reptiles and all those kind of big animals that do that kind of stuff, it's herpetologist.
Herpetology.
Herpetology.
And the second one is another love, and it's called ichthyology.
Ichthyology.
Ichthyology is a study of fish. So I love fish. I love all sorts of fish, but my main body of fish that I like to study are jellyfish. We don't call them jellyfish anymore in the scientific way. We call them jellies, but many people
Okay.
just say jellyfish, and then we'll accept that.
Okay, so there's a few people in the audience is looking like, wow, this is a serious situation. I'm the same way, and I'm looking myself. Don't feel bad. Why those type of exotic animals? I mean, like you didn't say, well, I like pet, or I like a certain. No, I would like boa constrictors. I want to deal with jellies. I want to deal with the kind that and you're out of here. Like, what triggers that, bro?
I'm fascinated with things that people aren't fascinated with, and I want to know what makes them do what they do. And there's a lot of mystery surrounding jellies.
Okay.
Jellyfish, people have a lot of ghost stories they like to talk about. Jellyfish chasing them in the water. They're in the beach and it'll move along the sand and get them. So if you study them, you find out the jellies don't have a brain.
Huh.
So they don't do. They're 98% water.
Really?
They're 98% water.
And you have one here.
I actually left it in my box, but I do have it. So in the next,
so we'll get it. Yeah, we'll
get
take
that
our time
later
because I
on,
want you to. We'll get a close up on that.
Right.
A jellyfish.
So jelly's whole being, its very existence, deals with electricity.
Okay.
So they feel and they move with electrical force impulses.
Okay.
Right. They're the food of turtles, sea turtles. They love them. In fact, they can't get enough of them.
Okay.
So they do have it does have its purpose. And its purpose is basically to feed other animals that can tolerate that.
Really?
Yep. But here's the weird thing, though. Jellies actually eat fish and other stuff, right? So those tentacles that are floating around, and some of them are 100 feet long. The lionfish, the lionhead jellyfish, has tentacles that exceed 100 feet long. And if we get caught up in them, it can actually do us some serious harm.
Right.
Yes, because they have those little stingers that sting us. And what they do is like harpoons. It stings you, and it releases a chemical inside. And that's why when you get a jellyfish sting and you pour cold water on it, it doesn't do anything. It makes it worse. Right. There's certain acid type things you're supposed to put on there that will neutralize that.
And that's why they say when you see a sign that says no swimming due to jellies or jellyfish, because of the tentacles and the current and the electric.
Right. Those are little stingers that they harpoon like stingers that they
Wow.
shoot out. Right. So they can feed, they'll enter a school of fish. Now, how do they find the school of fish without a brain? They're attracted to the electrical impulses. We all have electrical impulses that we send out. And in the water, it's fascinating. Sharks and all the other animals respond to that electrical impulses in the water. And so jellies are no different. And they respond to when they enter a school of fish, the tentacles are spread out and they're zapping. And as they're zapping, they're lifting and they're digesting as they go.
Wow.
So that's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, that is fascinating. That is, I think, what is the most fascinating thing in terms of the God creating? What do you think?
Oh, you see, I'm glad you said that.
Because I mean, we want a spiritual application. We're gonna do the practical. We're gonna touch stuff. We're gonna stretch it out, and I'm gonna sweat here for a minute.
God has a sense of humor.
Okay, let's talk.
Definitely has a sense of humor. So when it comes to animals, he didn't pass up on it. Right. So if you say what's the most fascinating creature, I've got to go to mammals, and I've got to go to marsupials, and then I've got to go to Australia.
Okay, let's do all three. I'm with
it. We're traveling now.
Okay, we're traveling
on a
Buckle
journey.
Up.
And so when you go to Australia, God looked at one creature out there and says, "You know what? I'm going to give you a duck bill. I'm going to give you otter feet. I'm going to make you venomous." And I'm going to make you have a pouch like a kangaroo. The platypus is the most interesting creature on the face of this planet. It's like if God was making and he had leftovers, all these leftover parts, he just said, bam, I'm going to slap this duck bill on this animal right here. And I'm going to make it a mammal. I'm going to give it fur. Like, wait a minute.
And it's venomous.
Oh, it's venomous.
Okay.
And add one more thing to it.
Okay.
It lays eggs.
Say what?
It lays eggs.
Now, wait. So is it now? Because I know that some animals can lay eggs, whether they're considered male, female, all that kind of stuff. How is it? It's females that lay.
No,
eggs?
they are. You can detect male or female.
Okay,
yes,
you can see. Okay, all right. Because I'm about to say, wait now, bro.
But see, the egg is also laid inside of the pouch. So it's a strange little animal.
Strange little. Those things aren't little. Those things, I see them on Wild Wild Kingdom.
About the size of otters. Yeah.
Yeah, they're huge, man.
Yeah.
Oh, well. Okay, so let's go with that was one category. Or the other category you were talking about.
I lost lost it right
The
there.
you said the mammals. You said there were marsupials.
Well, that was
Thank you
it.
very much.
But that was it.
So it's a
That's-
mixture.
That platypus incorporates all of that. That's what makes it unique. That's what makes it different. You know,
Wow.
That's what's the strangest animal on this planet, and the most fascinating animal is the platypus.
Okay.
Yeah, it really
What's
is.
the most common type of animal, or maybe common feature? Let's do a common feature that might be. I don't know.
I guess the most common animal would be, of course, it was a toss-up. It would be the dog or the cat, of course.
Okay, dog.
How
so and why?
Well, we've domesticated them over hundreds of years. We've domesticated them. They go back to before Egypt.
Mm.
We've used them for cattle rounding up, and we've used them for protection. Cats, we've used them. Well, cats, back in Egypt, they worshipped them. As
worshipped
gods.
them, right? Correct.
Right. And if you look at a cat, you can understand why. It gives you that notion. It's like, I don't care. I'm here, and you're gonna serve me, and give me my.
And they
food.
have they
And
got
it's
attitude.
Exactly.
I had a cat and I had to get rid of it. Not because I don't like cats, people. Please, not because of that. But it was doing too much.
Yeah,
like it's doing too much. You get a cat and and then they play with you, and then all of a sudden they scratch you.
Yeah.
Then they start doing crazy stuff like tearing up your house.
Tearing up your furniture.
And then they sit on it after they tear it up and be like, you're gonna get another one next week. Like, nah, bruh.
Yeah, that's a cat for you. They do have those. Now think about that in a little household cat. And raise that, magnified to the lion, the tiger, the serval, the bobcat, the lynx, and all of those cats, because they're
cats. Territorial on top of having that kind of attitude.
Yes, your regular house cat has a 3-mile territory that it covers. So if he runs outside the house, he's covering 3 miles. That's his territory.
And anybody get close, it's on.
That's it. He might share it with a few other cats. They have an overlapping or whatever, but they're still gonna have a little fuss before they determine that this is I'm gonna let you live here.
I'm gonna let you come on my porch.
Yeah. And that's just the domestic cats.
Yeah, I know.
So imagine,
because you know what, my brother and his wife love cats, and my brother's wife is from Tennessee, and she had those big cats,
right?
And she's from out that area, and she said that they would just lamp up on the property.
Yes, they.
And it was there when they were building homes, all kind of stuff, bro.
Yes.
And I seen pictures. I'm like, what is it, a bobcat or a and it was just
they just come right up. Yeah, they definitely do that.
I was like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I go with a dog.
Yeah. And then you have dogs. Dogs take dogs, for instance. You look at the dog, it's domesticated. Was it called? A man's best friend.
Man's best friend.
And so we'll follow you around and do almost every command you give it.
Mm-hmm.
You take that dog, you throw him into the wild, give him a little touch of his cousins, and that feral behavior comes out, and you've got a coyote, you've got a wolf, you've got some hybrids like that, and they're no joke. And even in this region, I've seen tons of coyotes running around here.
Oh man, they run in the back of my yard. I'm like, they just sit there and look at you like,
they definitely.
I wish you would come up on me. And I'm like, I'm going in and I'm gonna turn all the lights on.
I'll give you a good fact. If you see one, he's a scout. The others are not far behind. He's scouting out looking for food. And all he has to do is make a call and the others just come running. I'm telling you.
Yo, that's crazy.
Just waiting for that moment.
Oh my goodness. What you say? Professor in the back laughing, man. Hey, we are hanging out here at the spot, the Session Bible Beats and Bars with the famous expert on animals. It's my man, none other than Vaughn Mountain. And just for matter of fact, on my song Trust and Obey with the reggae part, this is the guy Vmon, as in Vaughn Mountain. We just cut it short because I had to put some credits on the song, so it's too long. So where you're from originally?
I was actually born in England and I was raised in Jamaica. My mom is Jamaican, my dad is English.
Okay.
I left England when I was 7 years old.
Okay.
And lived in Jamaica and ran wild out there in Jamaica.
See, I think there's a commonality between you and these exotic wild animals.
Yeah, wild, right?
Wow. Born to be wild. So that's what's up.
Yeah, I love the outdoors. I love that. And in Jamaica, bringing home lizards and sticking them. I used to prank.
That's why. Now we understand. He was doing this in Jamaica, folks. Now there's some people that do it in America, but this dude is in Jamaica. So I should have known there was a catch to this. All right, so let's start with some of the more domesticated and work our way on over to the big.
All right, you want to start over
Yeah,
there?
let's
then?
start on this
All
side.
right.
Let's start on this side because I think that's going to be cuckoo for cocoa puff. And let's see what we got here. All right. You want me to turn some lights on or you good? Okay, good. Yeah, we're gonna get you. What we'll do is I'll get you grab it and you tell us what it is.
Mini lop-eared rabbit. Their heritage is from Holland. This guy's not no out there in Northern Europe. Yep. Now this guy is probably not going to get much bigger than this, but his father, call them sires, he's about 25 pounds. He's a monster. He's a monster. Now the mother, she was between 8 and 10 pounds. So she was a tiny little thing. So
They had a thing, then they had a little thing going. Come here, shorty. Come here, girl.
sometimes they allow you to pick them up. As I said before, I treat them like ambassadors. Sometimes they allow you, and sometimes they don't. So we'll see what he does. All right.
She's gorgeous. Mm. And how old is she?
This one is about 2.5 years old.
A teenager.
Yeah.
7 times 2.5. Yeah, 15. Greedy.
She eats a lot. Just nonstop eating. If I have any fruit or veggies or anything, she will scratch on the bottom of the cage, reach up if the cage top is open. And this is not her environment. She has a different one. It's a lot larger. She will try to push and jump out of it just to follow me to get something.
Wow.
Yep. They do identify with their keepers. So, and her name is Lolly. So if I call her by her name, she will answer. She will come. Not physically answer. Say, yo, what's up? She'll just kind of run up to me or something like that. Or my son, she likes my son better than me. That's because he gives her more food.
Well, you know how they go, teenager and teenagers, a commonality.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put it back.
Okay.
And one thing about animals, when you put them back down, you have to remember that they feel safer on the ground. So if they start to act up, it's nothing to do with you or what you're doing to them. It's that they're not balanced. They don't feel sure with it. So you have to be really careful when you put them back down. So in a rabbit, you want to grab her behind the nape of the neck and hold the hind leg so she doesn't scratch you. And there's some sort of, see that? You see, it was really comfortable. And then I put her at the bottom. That would be the easy way to handle it.
Wow. I'm so glad you're doing that. I'm going to be the mic holder. But I do want to touch one of maybe one or two. Okay, let's see. We're praying. Everybody, I need y'all to pray for me right quick.
All right.
And what is this?
Is a ferret.
Ferris Bueller.
I like that movie. Let's see now. Cousin to a skunk. They're in the musculid family, so they have the scent gland that can spray. But ferrets don't spray. What they use that scent gland to mark the territories. They dig burrows and they'll mark around rabbit holes and places like that. Rabbits being one of their top foods. I know you're like, that's just torture. But this guy's used to eating cat food and ferret food, and he doesn't have an idea that he's supposed to take care of this rabbit at all.
Well, that's kind of you.
They're kind of friends. They kind of apartment neighbors. So he's always nosing around the rabbit. Ferrets, believe it or not, they're flexible. I'm going to do something that's not cruel. So don't look at this. Yeah, I'm bending them up like that. A ferret can bend, twist, flatten itself, get underneath the door that's closed, under your dresser, under your bed, anywhere that's a little crevice, they can climb in there. And ferrets date back to domesticating 300-400 years back. Even here in America, they were used for collecting rabbits and stuff like that. They were also used in Europe. The term ferreting came about for searching and seeking things out, just little things they were being trained to collect jewelry and stuff like that. So yes, pirates would probably have them. A couple other undesirable people might just use a ferret to steal your belongings while you sat down and make off with them. And they were very good at it. There's a movie that made them quite popular in the 80s called The Beastmaster. And those portray some very well-trained ferrets. Every stunt that you see the ferret doing in that movie was actually real. Those ferrets really did everything that you saw in that movie. All right, and that was with
Yeah.
what is that actor from?
From
I don't remember his name.
I know you're talking about, but that was because they had James Evans. He played. Yeah, you're right. And they had, I think, two of those. They came out with two movies.
Two movies.
Beast One and Beast. Yeah, that was really pretty interesting. So each of those ferrets were real ferrets that was doing those things. Because I didn't know if sometimes you think it's CGI or you think it's the creative cartoonic animation, but those were real. Okay, so where do I touch it?
I can touch him anyway. He's fine. As long as
Well, he got some really interesting hair. Tell me about his hair.
Well, right now it's going through a transition. It's reason it looks a little ratty is because he's losing his summer coat and transferring into his winter coat. So his winter coat is going to come out a lot thicker and lighter, kind of match the snow if there were snow. In the summer, he had a little dark band going down the back right here. It's more pronounced around his eyes. He would probably look more like a raccoon. But he's losing. If you see, it's fading away. All of the darkness is fading away. He's getting a very, very lighter and thicker coat.
Kind of a tannish.
Yeah. And so even though he's an indoor animal, he still is in internal clock, still acknowledges seasons. And so he'll conform to whatever needs to be done with his body to adjust to that season.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right, buddy. It's so amazing that God created animals. As a creator, he created animals with their own distinct ability to be creators. You know what I mean? That's like I think, we talk about the power of choice and will as humans, but they have choice and will.
Sort of. Within their parameters. Of course, their choices end up being fatal if they make the wrong one. So, but they're not like, that's what makes them different to us. Choices we make can be fatal, but also it could just lead you down a different pathway. You can actually regroup from your bad choice and end up back on the right path. Animals don't. It's just polar. It's either right or wrong. And so
There's somebody's meal ticket,
that's it.
whether it's human or another.
Well, there's one thing I wanted
Yes.
to tell you. These ferrets are carnivores.
Huh? They're carnivores.
Meat eaters. And so, as I kind of told you, that rabbits for the European ferret is a prime rib for them. And I wanted to show you something. Look at that, those teeth in there. Those are his canines. So yes, if they get a bite of you, they can do some damage on you too. So these don't make the best of pets. And I know that you have them. Well, it takes a long period of time to learn these animals' behaviors. And if you go to a pet shop, you might get a little booklet that tells you how to and what they eat. But it doesn't tell you that each ferret, each animal that you get comes with its own personality and that it may never be tamed. Some of them don't get tamed. As you can see, his canines, if he were to deliver you a nice bite, you more than likely would get stitches from it. So this is an animal that you really have to learn about before you would actually go ahead and take it on as a pet. Right? Remember, it's as smart as a dog, and it has the same qualities as a cat. So you're getting two animals for the price of one. And think about having a dog with a cat's brain.
Wow. So they're not only attitudinal, but they're smart.
They're smart.
And they will mess you up.
They can.
All right. So I see you have here. You want to try that? Yeah. Now, what about this little guy here?
This guy you can find from the deserts of Pakistan and Afghanistan, and they are a gecko. This is a gecko.
15%.
Not that tough. See, he's trying to run away from me, so I won't take him all the way out because this is a big area to have him run after and catch him.
Yeah, he'll be living here for a month.
Right. This is a leopard gecko. He's related to the African fat-tailed gecko, and if you take a look at his tail, you can see that his tail is kind of bulbous. He's one of those geckos that will eat and store some of the fatty tissue in his tail. And the reason he does that is they only can find food maybe 4 to 6 months out of the year. After that, they won't find any food. It's a very harsh terrain, and as they're crossing the desert, they need to be able to eat. So all of that food that's stored in his tail gets absorbed back into his body. Now, what I try to do is I try to put him through a similar life cycle. As you can see, his tail is starting to bulk back up. So what I do once in a while, I allow them to go through sort of a dietary stale where they just stop eating for a little while. And so he has to live off of the food that's in his tail. So I don't let it get too low. Right about the point it is right now is where I allow it to be, and then I start pumping up the food again, and it's going to get really massive and big. This guy is actually really cool. There's another thing that's fascinating about this guy. In his natural environment, he has his own built-in air conditioning unit. I'm going to tell you a little bit about that. But I'm going to tell you the difference between this gecko and any other gecko that you'll find, especially the ones on television. Geckos generally don't have eyelids. And so what they do in order to moisten their eyes, they lick them. This guy has eyelids. Geckos generally don't have nails because they can climb up walls. They have these little suction cups and they can pinch up walls. This guy doesn't have that. He has nails. He is not designed for climbing. He's designed for running in the hot sand. His nails are long and they're also sharp. So if he catches something, he can tear it up and eat. His nails also are designed so that if the sand is hot, he can balance on it. On the tip of his nails, he can balance on. Now, you know, if you touch your nails, generally you won't feel much, right? So imagine you've got long nails and you just balance on those nails. You're not feeling the heat of the sand. So he's hot, but his feet are not. So how does he cool down his body? This is where that little thing I tell you comes in. He's got bumps all over his body, raised bumps. So as the heat is bothering him, he'll rock to and fro. And as he's rocking to and fro, the wind that he's creating is going down the channels in his back and cooling his body down. Wow. It's a fascinating design, and if you don't believe in God, you need to, because this right here will tell you that this is not by chance. Wow. This is by design. I mean, look at him, and you'll say, this little thing has us beat. He's walking around with air conditioning. I'd love that. We should run around. It's cool, you know, man. But
wow.
Also, one of the other things is they leave nothing to waste. Now, this I don't recommend this. It's just for the lizard. Now, when he sheds, he doesn't leave the trash. He eats it. He eats his own skin. And that actually in the desert would help him with some things some minerals that he's actually lacking. But I don't recommend anybody else do that.
Yeah, that's okay. We'll just, we won't do that. We're Americans. It's Pakistani. No. So Middle East. Okay. All right. Then you got here. Let's talk about the gator head.
This one was actually gifted to me by a gentleman in Louisiana. And if you ever watch Swamp, what are they call it now? Swamp Tours or something like that?
Swamp Tours. I remember that. I actually went on one when I lived in Louisiana. But I took the short one. I saw too many of them things in the water for the factual. Oh. And the water markings, the heads were like, they were like really big, like half this head. This was a water marker. Yeah.
Yep. And so he gave me this because I told him I was embarking on my own little adventure, starting my own business. And so he said, well, you can't start without having the gator head. He said, my share, take this gator head here, there. He said, have a good time, yeah? And so I did. I took it. I'm having a good time with it. I explained to you that this is a real gator head. The only thing that isn't real is just the styrofoam here to stop it from decaying. The marbles are the eyes. That's another thing that's not real. But everything else is real. The teeth, and they are sharp. You can touch it. They're still sharp. And so everything in this is real. So just to let you know how big and how strong the gator is looking with his jaw, even the jaw muscle right there, you can actually see it's still intact. And it shows you exactly the face of the gator, what you're going to be facing off, something like this. Now these guys, the nostrils are on top of their nose, so they can just stick their nose out of the water and breathe. They don't have to worry about anything, having to come all the way up. Their eyes, believe it or not, are raised so they can see out of the water. So their nose and their eyes are the only things that can lift out of the water. They have something on their eyes, another layer of skin called a nictitating membrane. And that membrane covers up whenever they go into the water. Now, if you ever watch a video of a gator, this time take exceptional notice. When that gator is submerging, you'll see the bottom of the eye go up. Just a clear coat just goes up. And that happens automatically every time. Fast or slow, it'll just go up or down. It comes out of the water, it drops. It goes up under the water, it goes up. And that's pretty cool. It's like its own little line.
And you can and it's clear so they can still
You
see.
can still see.
Wow.
And they're pretty fast underwater as well. There's a lot of talk about gators not being that fast underwater. I know from personal experiences they are quite fast underwater. And that if you are swimming in an area where it has gator, you better know how to swim very well.
Wow. Now you have the skin. You show the full length of one.
This is a small one here.
Small one.
This is small. This is small. I'm gonna hold him away, but and he's still, considered small.
Wait. That's do it from the floor. I think that's almost. That's the same height as you, bro. And this is a small one.
This is small. This is considered a baby. Yes. This is a small one or a teenager.
A teenager. Good God of mercy. What happens to with adulthood?
This guy would probably be in like a 6th or 7th grade.
Seriously.
Yeah, this is a young guy.
This is like a kid alligator.
That's right.
Children, don't do this and don't go in swamps. I want to recommend you do not do that.
But you see, as you see, his mouth is considerably smaller. Considerably smaller. So, see the difference?
Wow.
Considerably smaller in there, and the teeth are still sharp, but yeah, definitely a smaller mouth. He's still younger. Everything's the same, just small. Wow. We'll go ahead and put him back. Take a look at Sir. He's got very long claws.
And those are the real claws.
Real claws.
Wow.
Gators are quite adept at slashing and tearing with front and hind legs as well. On the gator, you want to be very careful of the tail, though. That's where he'll get you. Most inexperienced gator collectors end up hurt because they approach the gator from behind, not realizing that gator can slap him with the tail. And if he slaps you in your leg, you can take your leg out. You're not getting up right away. That you're looking at some pretty strong muscle tissue in there that can smack you and break your leg if need be. If a larger gator like this hit you, would definitely break your leg. And so once you're down, then you're
meat. You're fair game, and then they come in all one person and all of them get you. So how many years can a full-grown gator live up to in human years, I guess?
Oh, well, there are some gators out there that we've documented at 50 plus. So then you have the myth. Then you have the 100-year gator, the 90-year gator, but nobody's really.
Kind that you see on TV. They keep bringing it back. The crocodile comes in.
Now crocodiles have been 100 years. So you can see that because of their size too. You look at something that's 40 feet long, and 40 feet long in a crocodile's existence, it doesn't come in 5, 10, 15 years. That's over a longer period of years, right? So you're looking at the crocodiles, which are the more aggressive of the two, and that's the truth. If you're out there, alligators will just as soon leave you alone, but crocodile will always attack. Crocodiles are very aggressive.
So let's sit for a second before we get to these last little ones, because those are the ones I need to get my mind right, because that's crucial. Got them focused over there. All right, so what's the difference between the crocodiles in terms of identification and the alligator, or are there differences?
There are differences. The most common one is the snout. On the crocodile, the snout is slender. On the alligator, the snout is broad. If you take a look at the crocodile, they tend to be more heavier set.
Okay.
It's kind of like comparing a pit bull and a bulldog.
Okay, gotcha.
The pit bull is sound and
he's
fit,
solid and he's shrimp.
right, and then the bulldog he's got a little finesse, but he's kind of sloppy, a little sloppy. He's all right, but he'll do.
Yeah.
But the pit bull shows mass, it shows
Right.
definition, muscle, and then when you look at a crocodile, you'll see that in a crocodile. Crocodiles are more in tune with their environment. If you look at them, alligators are in tune, but they're kind of like, whatever.
The crocodiles about the
Crocodiles,
business.
they're always about
If
business.
you in our neighborhood, you fair game. Dinner, din.
That's it.
Lunch,
That's
breakfast.
it. Well, lucky for us, you in America, you can only find crocodiles in Florida.
Right.
That's the only place you'll ever find them in the Everglades in Florida, in the salt marshes there.
Yes.
Yeah.
We were down in Florida for Flavor Fest, and we were coming back, and you just see all the swamps on the side, and I'm like, nah, bro, I'm gonna fly back next year.
When I lived out there, I used to work down in there. I used to work for a place called Snake Busters, and we used to go in there. Yep, we used to go in there and catch some of those Burmese pythons that were in there, and we sometimes come across well, I was told now, I didn't know back then because I was young,
Right.
that there were Florida panthers.
Wait, what is Florida? Like what you mean? Like panther, like the four-legged panther?
Yeah.
Like Black Panther?
Well, not black, but yeah, definitely.
So what color were those?
They're
panthers?
beige or tan. They're
Oh
tan
wow!
color, yeah.
In Florida.
In Florida, they have down in the Everglades.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, this is really good information. This is great. Come on, let's put our hands together for my man Vaughn, real quick, and we're gonna man. So, what keeps you doing this now, having done it 3 decades or so, and you know, obviously, you're very good at what you do.
Animals are they
Talking
don't
to Mike a little
evolve.
bit closer.
They're not evolving, but they do have this weird ability to adapt. And so whatever we throw at them, we take out their environment, but they adapt. You can take a look. We have something called the city coyote.
Okay.
And so there's a coyote that can run around Huntsville and feel quite at home. I'm talking about Huntsville proper, downtown Huntsville.
Mhm.
You'll see him walking around, and he's comfortable out there. Then you have country coyote, where he's just used to the fields and stuff like that.
Yeah, he
So
coming in
animals learn to adapt when we even remove their environment, and so those things they inspire me. You know, especially my walk with God. It's like we need to adapt. Our environments are ever changing, and we tend not to adapt. We fight that, but sometimes we need to adapt in order to survive and to spread the word. But how can we do that if we stay stoic in just one little lane that we have? We have to change, and animals change, and they teach us that, because even the Bible says, "Go to the ants, thou sluggard," and it says, "Look at the ants, watch their behavior, see what they do, see how their unity works, see how they vibe with each other, and if you copy yourself after their lifestyle, you can be successful." Because you have to admit, ants are successful. If they build a colony, you don't find out till they've built that colony.
Right, till you stepping in,
They've got
and then you stepping in,
apartments
and you're like,
condos. They've got all kinds of stuff going on in there, swimming pools, the whole nine. You know, and we don't find out till it's all built.
right. And then we like this,
Yeah,
the red
that's it.
dirt come up. You're like,
And even then, if you take a look, as soon as you kick that mound down, look how quick they get together to rebuild that stuff.
yeah.
I mean, it's just built in. You know, it's like get the workers together. That's it. And the queen says, "Hey, fix it. It's done." And that's how, you know, God says that's how we should be with him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fix it. And we just fix it. We know what needs to be done. We should relate to God on that kind of a level.
And that's real kingdom.
Yeah.
Because kingdom is, and we'll finale with the last little ones. But I think it's interesting because we always try to do a spiritual application, Bible beats and bars. And even though we're dealing with different exotic animals and we're grateful, I think you're absolutely right. Kingdom is really people coming together for God's cause.
That's right.
People deciding to be God's cause.
That's right.
You know, and I love that the application you share. Are there any other spiritual applications you would like to share that we can learn from animals?
Forgiveness.
Okay, now that's a good one. Forgiveness, because you know that dude I got it vendetta with this dude. It's hard for us as humans
To get along
to
with
forgive,
each other. Right.
or even say sorry.
Right.
How do animals do that? That's
Now,
great. Great.
The
I love
very,
that.
very animal that we've taken and domesticated, the dog, is a perfect example of how to be forgiving. I mean, there are people out there that abuse dogs, and we know that they go all the way that sometimes
Right.
it's just horrific to
Right,
take a
right,
look at that dog. And the dog doesn't know you from the next person. He's been abused. So when you
Right.
approach him, he's fearful and is full of vengeance and hate and protecting himself. And yet we get around that and we treat it good. We deliver kindness, and that dog delivers forgiveness to us and allows it back into our world. And that's one of the things we need to show each other. We need to show each other. See, if I've wronged you,
Right.
then I should show you kindness. If I want your forgiveness, I want to show you kindness. And then you will be more accepting of forgiving me if I'm showing you that kindness. But sometimes we are so stubborn in ourselves. We don't want that. We rely on something that God hasn't blessed animals with. We have id. We have ego. And sometimes we can't get past ego. So if I was to say there's one stumbling block in humans that I don't see in animals, and that would be ego.
Mm. Wow, that is. Yeah, I hope you all are getting it. This is super deep, man. I mean, it really is. To be able to say, "Hey, God created animals so that we can learn from them."
Well, God created animals so we could see Him.
Okay,
We could
let me
see
double back.
who God is. You want to learn about God? Well, you learn about nature. You look at the trees, and I'm not going to stop just at the animals. I'm going to involve
Okay,
some of
that's
the
fine.
trees.
Cool, cool.
We look at trees. You look at the plants. You look at the flowers. Who doesn't like a good-looking flower? You see some rose bushes. I don't care how thugged out you are, man. You
Right.
see a good-looking
Correct,
plant. You
correct.
see a good-looking plant. I've seen. I'm in New York. I roll with my buddies, and I've had them stop cars like, "Here, I'm gonna give my girl some of that right over there."
Yeah, and
Like,
just pull it out the concrete, and they grow everywhere.
Grow everywhere, man. There are all these
Ooh,
flowers.
now
but
you
you see,
preaching, bro. You
but you
preaching
see,
now.
all of these things we should look at and realize it's God's part of God's character.
Mm.
When God says you want to learn about me, it's not you can open up the Bible and can read, but when you read, are we applying what we've learned? We have to look out into what He's created, match it with the Bible, and you will see His character. He's always telling us, look, He'll always feed the birds, right?
Mhm.
Why are we hungry?
Why we tripping?
Faith.
Right.
Faith. So once we start believing that everybody else is going to take care of us or take care of it,
Mhm.
then we have a lack of faith and hope. See, but God, when you give it to Him, that hope, that faith, that belief, we don't go hungry. And I know that because I was homeless.
Right.
He said, you might not have a home, but look, you're eating.
Right. Wow.
So,
and I think we as humans, we do forget that. We feel like we're not really eating if we don't have certain things.
Right.
When really vegetation,
right,
protein,
We want a
starches.
three-course meal.
We want 3-course meals, and if we not, we trip it.
That's right.
Or I'm not eating this, and you ain't gonna eat that, or I'm not coming to your house, or and
Right.
God's like, all you really need is just those 4 basic nutrients.
That's it.
To actually function.
Right.
So one other thing, and then we're gonna want to wrap up with the other smaller ones, and we're gonna do the boa constrictor, right? You're gonna
Okay.
hold it, right?
I will hold.
And then I will see about
Holding it?
joining you in
Okay,
that
all
situation. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the other 2 here. Let's go with the other 2. I think
All right.
1, 2, 3. We got 3 more. Yes, and then let's do the boa constrictors.
All right. Well, in this green top
Green.
environment right here,
All right.
this guy right here definitely is from Australia because they have some cool stuff in Australia, i.e. the platypus, and that's it. And this is actually a green tree frog. He's very big for a green tree frog. We see little tiny green tree frogs around here, and they make a weird noise. This guy is massive. He's still considered small. When he gets bigger, he's going to be about as big as this right here.
Big as your hand.
Make that kind of a somewhat unclosed fist. Yeah. So he just get that big, and they eat at that size. They will eat mice. So it tells you what kind of a food source they can eat. So they're in captivity. You can keep them alone, but they prefer to be in communities. And so you'll hear them calling out at each other. And I love to do this if you don't mind. I'm gonna. And that is actually calling the female to let them know there's a community over here.
Holla at your boy.
Come holla at your boy. Yeah.
That's good, bro.
By the way, I want to let you know how baby gator makes his noise when he's calling his mom. So if you get
you know what? I've heard that. I've heard that in New Orleans because I lived in St. Bernard Parish, Chalmette. So actually my house was behind the levee, and I used to hear them making all them noise. I didn't know that was alligators, but we would have alligators in the back of our house. Yeah, you bugging? Okay, all right. I'd heard that, but I didn't know. But we would find alligators just sitting up and baking when the sun would hit the backside of the house. Because when you step over about 50 feet, there was just the levee water, and then they eventually put a guard up because they was coming up in your yard. I'm like, this bananas. You got any Wheaties, brother? I need some of them Wheaties. Come here. All right, what you got here? Okay.
Slider. I'm gonna pick him up. This is a common turtle. This guy you'll find in any pet store. Anytime anybody gets a pet turtle, it's gonna be one of these. A red-eared slider. They're very common. Now, the story about these guys, they weren't that common. They never used to be that common. Pet stores used to just sell them and say, hey, well, they would get as big as your tank. But they didn't. They get about as big as a dinner plate. And so people are like, I can't deal with this. And the pet store say, I'm not taking it back. So what they do, the next thing, they look for the local river, pond, and they throw it in there. So think about that. In one small area of the United States of America, these little guys existed. Now you can find them in every waterway in the United States of America, Canada, Mexico, and Europe. So being kept as pets hasn't really done the world too many favors because they have a voracious appetite too. So they'll eat anything, and they are omnivores. So they not just vegetation, they'll eat all kinds of fishes and lizards and anything that gets in front of them that at the point when they're hungry. Wow. Yeah. Fingers, yeah, they love fingers.
So they're not discriminate.
They're not at all.
I'm not putting my finger in there.
Now, the one thing about turtles is, and the thing that a lot of people don't realize, is the shell is a part of their spine. It's fused. So I've come across a few people that say, well, I tried to pull him apart, his shell won't come off. It's not supposed to. It's not supposed to at all. There's another thing. There's a difference between a turtle and a tortoise. And that's important because a lot of times we see some turtle-like animal crossing the street, and he's not actually a turtle. He's a tortoise. Even though here in the South we call them box turtles, he's actually a tortoise. And tortoises don't fare well in water because they're not designed for swimming. I've seen it. I've had a couple people come back and say, hey, I threw him in the water and all I saw was bubbles. Well, he's having a hard time coming back out because he's not designed to swim out. So if you see him crossing the street and you want to help him, you can get him to the other side and let him go. But don't put him in any water. Please don't put him in any water. And you can tell the difference because tortoises don't have webbing between their feet. They have long nails. Their turtle shell is round. It's like a big hump. Right. The actual turtle are flattened. You take a look at this guy. It's kind of flat. It's aerodynamic, cutting through the water and swimming. The other one, well, the water will sweep underneath there and hold him down as a weight. So it's not really good to like.
That is interesting because I always thought that every time I saw one of them little things moving across slowly, that it was always a turtle. But you're right. Those. Okay, we're gonna get. Okay, I was wondering. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, they scribbling. I'm like, okay. How much time we have?
The frog, right? So the frog.
She's like, it's din time. Carrots.
Toads differ from frogs. In fact, toads have dry skin. They don't need to be near water as much. They can tolerate really dry weather. So you find toads in your backyard and there's no waterway near you. There's no ponds or anything like that, but you will find toads there. So they're a little bit sturdier. Not as some people think they're not as good to look at, but I just think that they all are. As long as God designed it, it's good enough to look at. It's pretty. So that's my quick touch on the toad. I'll tell you the difference between the two because I know you want to get.
So the toad and the frog. So what's the difference between the toad and the frog?
Toads dry skin, frogs moist. And that's pretty much it. That's a small saying, if I remember the saying. All toads are frogs, but not all frogs are toads.
Right.
So that should kind of cover there. Remember, the toads are dry-skinned and warty looking, and you can't catch those warts. A lot of people think you catch them, but you can't. Oh. All right. It's just warty looking. There's ridges on there. They're just very dry. And frogs are smooth-skinned and porous. They have to have water in order to help them breathe because they breathe through their bodies as well as their mouth.
Okay, that's good. All right, what you got, bro?
This guy is from Africa, from the Savannah region.
Is that a snake?
Yeah.
Okay, let's. Yeah, I was just wondering.
This is a small guy, and let's see. Are you ready here? Yeah, this guy here, he's actually got partial shit left on him. This guy is a ball python. As an adult, he'll reach about 5 feet long. Actually, the female will get about 5, maybe 6 feet long. The male will get about maybe 4, 5 feet long. Males are generally smaller. The pythons are actually egg layers. So this guy will lay eggs. Well, let me see. Yep, this guy will lay eggs. Well, I kind of marked it, so yeah, I would know. Yeah, I have a couple that get a bit confusing with snakes because you have to use a metal instrument in order and go in through their cloaca to determine the sex. And I try not to do that as much. It's painful, and they can bite. It's okay. They can lay in a clutch of eggs, and it's called a clutch. You have about 24, up to 24 eggs sitting, and can probably lay anywhere from 2 to 3 times a year. So that's pretty awesome. And in captivity, we've actually changed that behavior. So in some captivity, in some of these snakes, you can do color breeding, and you can get them to breed constantly, and which is not really that good for the animal itself. But
You say color breeding. What do you mean?
we can get different colors. We can get pastels. You can get solid whites, albinos. I mean, and you can various color markings, tiger stripes, anything if they can do it. Yes, pinks, purples. Yeah, you can get it. We get it. Did you want to hold it?
No. I'm okay. Yeah, get his head. He got some muscles, doesn't he?
Yeah. Oh, that's a good thing. I'm glad you said that because snakes are only 1% fat.
Wait. Say it again. Snakes are only 1% fat, just straight mass muscle. Wow.
This muscle. See, on the constrictors, they can squeeze their prey, sort of. Right. So imagine that 1%, that 99% muscle. And now I can actually, as we're walking over here, I'll show you the next animal. But before I talk about this guy right here, I'll tell you a little bit about how these snakes eat. Constrictors actually don't squeeze you to death. They allow you to be the one that does all the work. And most snakes, most animals allow their prey to do most of the work. So he bites and it wraps around its prey. So we have a thing called breathing. When we breathe, we inhale and we exhale. When you're scared, we exhale. And so the snake will squeeze tight. So you try to inhale, you're not getting as much oxygen. You inhale, and then you exhale. The snake gets a little tighter. So if you see what happens, he's allowing you to try and survive. And as you're trying to survive, every time you make that one step towards surviving, he tightens a little bit more. So basically you suffocate.
Wow.
So he's no longer, he doesn't hold the title of murderer. He's not. No, he's not. So he cannot say you killed yourself.
Yeah, you get that. That's interesting. And again, it's the intelligence.
It is.
That's, people want to say animals are not intelligent, but they're very, very smart.
Very smart. That's right.
Wow.
You can take an animal and I think I was telling you this earlier about I have a sugar glider, and the reason I wouldn't put it near the snake is because it instantly knows the sugar glider was born in captivity. For those who don't know, sugar gliders are kind of like flying squirrels, and so when it sees the snake, it instantly recoils. It knows it's a danger. It knows it doesn't need to be around this animal. And so I find that fascinating that this animal that was born in captivity, never spent a day in the wild, knows exactly what a snake is, as if it's got something up there coded to it to tell it, hey, man, that's it. So that tells me that God is in control. He's definitely in control.
Okay, before you get that, you got one more, right? Before.
Right here.
Okay, that one right there.
Now, this guy sometimes They allow me. Sometimes they
Well,
won't.
first of all, what is it?
This guy is a tarantula.
Okay.
It's a pink toe, Mexican pink toe tarantula. And
Those are venomous.
they all spiders actually all spiders are venomous. All spiders carry a certain level of toxicity.
It won't get up the thing. Okay, I just want to ask. Benign.
Actually, they can and cannot be. Just it depends on the mood. Now I'm going to try to touch him. There's certain places where I can touch, and he'll allow me. But if he starts to spread out, that tells me get away, don't bother.
Okay.
So it's just a simple thing. I just go in and I'll see exactly what he's going to do. I approach him right from the front. You going to come up? No. No. Won't come up.
Snap.
And I'm going to hold him in here so that you can see him.
Wow.
Right
Here it is.
You know, he's trying to get off, so I'm going to let him go.
Yeah, don't. Yeah,
But there you can see I
but
can
he's
touch
going
him.
up.
He's all right. He won't go too far.
You sure?
I'll guarantee you.
Okay.
See, look at that.
Amen. Hallelujah. That is a Mexican church.
You should be able to see his fangs.
And Jesus said, "Don't touch."
Don't touch. You can see his fangs. If you look closely, you see his fangs up there.
That's the two ones right there. The two things.
Those two front are part of his feeler system. They help him feed and they help him manage, detect food and stuff like that. Now, the two rear legs are the ones that you really watch for. While I was trying to pick him up, not only am I watching for him to raise his fangs and his front legs to tell me no, I'm always watching his hind legs. The back legs on tarantulas are the key things because they take those and they'll rub their abdomen. And as they're rubbing their abdomen, they're going to spray the hair up into the air.
Okay.
If they get into your nostrils or in your pores, they can cause rash or upper respiratory problems. So they have another form of defense mechanisms other than just their teeth, their fangs.
And that's so they can from other animals.
Other animals, yes.
So it
Let's say a
paralyzes
fox will try to eat them, and he sprays it. He just takes that hair and just kind of wafts it into the atmosphere, and he inhales it. Well, that fox is going to be sneezing, coughing, wheezing, and he's going to want no more part of that.
Wow.
Yeah, yep.
Wow.
Definitely.
It's so amazing that it's so small. And so we talked about, so let's do this before we go there. And this will be the last thing. We're making good time. What's the difference between something that is poisonous and venomous? All right. So let's do the mic on that one, because I think that would be good way to, yeah. All right.
There we go. Now, poison is simple. Poison you have to ingest. So you can poison a person, you can poison a dog, we poison rats all the time by giving it little poisonous pellets.
Right.
So it has to be ingested through the mouth,
Okay.
swallowed, and then goes into your system. That's poison.
All right.
Venom is injected. It has to have a means of injection. That's why you have the fangs. Once they insert the fangs, then they spew the venom in there. So the venom is it can be there's various types of toxins that it can be. It can attack your nervous system. It
Right.
can attack your heart, anything like that.
Okay.
But that's a difference between them.
No, I think that's important because a lot of times when we see animals and you hear the ghost stories, or you're just scared, you're just fearful of animals, especially reptiles and spiders.
Right.
Then you're like, man, that's poisonous. No, it's really venomous,
right.
because they
Have fangs.
fangs.
Right.
And so poison means that you would actually
If a spider
feed it.
wanted to poison you, you'd have to slip something in your coffee or your tea.
Right. Oh, and they ain't doing all of that.
They ain't doing
Can you help me today, Snake? Oh no, I'm sorry. I just
That's
have to
it.
slide around.
Let's just gotta slide around. Yeah.
Okay, so let's get this one. Let's wrap it with this. Okay, here we go, people. I'm going to try my best to be that guy. What you saying, Professor? Got me living risky. It's faith right here, baby. Can't say I've never tried something different. Okay, here we go. Snap.
That's the easy part.
That's the easy part. Oh yeah, he is. He's trying. He's kind of. You got it.
Yeah, I got it.
Oh snap. Okay. How big is he?
He's I think he's about between 4 and 5 feet long, or something like that. Yeah.
4 or 5.
Yep. He's
Oh, wow. Yeah, he's a little.
down.
Okay.
But snakes, just like the other animals, if you remember.
Come on up to the mic right here.
Snakes, just like the other animals, if you remember, I told you animals like to feel secure. So that's why you saw him wrestling around. There's no more floor underneath him. So he's like, I need to find some place to feel secure. So he's right here.
Wow.
Hey, come on, dude. There we go.
Love his
All right,
head.
so I'm going to hold him in my left hand.
Okay.
So that he's away from you.
Yes, please.
And so
I'm on the
try to
right
get him-
side, left, right.
Try to get him to.
And you want me to?
You can hold him right here.
Oh, he's moving. He's really moving. He's really moving. This is crucial. Don't do this at home, people. Any kind. Oh, wow.
Now you
He's
feel the
heavy.
strength.
Yeah, he's got all muscle.
Yes. Feel that strength.
Wow. And like, what is that on the bottom?
Those are his scales. So
Scales.
because he doesn't have legs, he uses scales to manipulate and
Wow.
his movement. So they kind of like is open a scale and move, pull, push, sideways, forwards.
Wow.
You know, he can.
Yo, that is
around.
amazing. And he's all muscle. Listen, he is all muscle. Yo, don't do this at home. Now, let's talk prehistoric. You know, they say they had feet, and let's go to the Garden of Eden. Let's go to the garden. Let's wrap with this.
In the
Lord
Garden
have
of Eden
mercy.
days. Now, yes, this guy actually would prove that the animals had the snakes
Right.
had feet and such. At the end of here, if you take this now, this one I believe is the this one.
Tail curled, so he ain't playing.
Yeah, this one actually is the female.
It's female, isn't it?
Yeah, so the claws are not pronounced. In the male, the claws are pronounced. At the end tail right here, if you take a look, Fred, you see right in there? That's a claw. Right
Wow,
in
it has a claw spot.
Now,
Look, pull
in
this
the
up, bro.
skeleton.
Look right there.
Right inside there. Now, the male,
That is so
there's
crazy.
still a use for it. The male uses that to help him mate with the female. However, in the skeleton, if you break this down and just had the skeleton, you would see it looks like remnants of feet. So there is actual remnants there that look more like feet than we know of. So God designed these guys and said, "Look,
And
man,
you know, they say they flew and they had that is something.
wings. Imagine
Had
that.
wings.
Imagine that. One of the most prettiest creatures on the face of this planet.
Wow. All muscle. Listen, 199% muscle. I can't believe I'm doing this.
But how does that feel to you? You tell the people how it actually feels. Though.
It feels like smooth, but you can feel the muscle. You can feel. Okay, no, that's a little too much. It's you can feel the bone, like the scale. It's like his literal. It's muscle wrapped around. His actually like ribs. Like
Yeah,
they got
you
skin-
can
it's-
feel
you can
ribs
feel.
and
You
stuff,
can feel
yes.
it.
Yes. That's his spine right on
You
top
can't
there.
get out of this for real. If you get it, this is serious. And this is what, 5 feet?
This is about 5, yeah. Yes.
And how big can they go?
This
they-
guy, an adult, will be about 12 feet long.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be seeing him in the zoo.
Actually, I could bring him back when he's 12 feet long. You'll see.
Okay, yeah, we'll do it outside. We'll do it. You know, I think this will be great to bring him for the Good Music Arts and Festival next year.
Right.
What do y'all think? That would be great to have it at the festival as a great thing. I think that would be dope, man. You know what's interesting is that it's sticky. It's smooth, but it's got like a grip, like it's
Yes.
like Spider-Man
And
when
that's
he
how
put
they
his
can
hand on
climb
there.
the walls
They can
too, because
climb.
they use the scales. And it's kind of a rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's smooth, yes, but you can feel this texture.
And people
That's the
eat
word,
these
texture.
things. I'm like, no, I don't think so.
Yeah.
My dad ate pretty much anything, and he said it tastes like chicken.
Yeah, well, we
But
can just eat chicken.
yeah, I would recommend chicken and staying away from anything
I
that
don't think we're
moves like
running
that.
out of
No, we
chicken
don't run out
anytime
of chicken.
soon. It's chicken. You got Popeyes, you got KFC, you got chicken. There's chicken around.
Yeah, there's plenty of that, man. Let's stay clean foods. Leviticus 11. Thank you. So listen, let's give it up again, man, for my man Vaughn. I know y'all at home, but yo, V-Mon, this has been really amazing. So I want to finale with how can they get in touch with you? Because he travels. This guy has all kind. And listen, this is just we only have 3,000 square feet, but like he has a whole little stuff. Like this dude is like farm animals. Like he's got exotic animals like on a lot of space. So I think we would definitely want to have you back. I would love to look at maybe having it maybe a few months down the road. Having some of your the cats. I think that
Maybe
would be
we could get
super
we could
dope.
get those servals over
The
here.
servals, yeah, not the other ones. Bobcats take a little longer to train.
Yes, they do.
We don't have time to destroy this building. This is a studio. So, but so how can they get in touch with you? Like, so you may have a youth group, you may have you may work with kids in community, whether at-risk communities or whatever the case may be. Like when we were in New Orleans, we got a chance to take our kids who had done some very horrendous things, and for them to be able to be a kid and see God's creation, it did wonders for my kids. They were like, man, so there's beauty in life. And, a lot of times we don't see that. We just see concrete jungle. I think it's really moving up there. So it is locked.
It's good. It's good.
Okay,
He's
good.
locked.
Thank you. Because I'm going to have to leave the stage left. And you're going to be all by yourself.
I'll be fine. I'll be okay with it.
You're right. Yeah, you're the expert.
expert.
So how can they get in touch with you? We're going to put the professor will put the information up, but I'd love for you to share a little bit like the contact number.
Well, it's
yes.
256
256
879. I believe it's 879. Is it? Yeah, it's 256 829 8779. I got my own number.
Yeah, there it is. 256
829
8779.
That's right.
And if you want to support him, and we always do this with all of our guests, we definitely want you to go to his Cash App and support him. If you were blessed by this, or you're like, man, I think I would like to try this. I would like to bring him in to talk to my people, or maybe do it as a training. And this is really, I think this is cool because for me, I've never touched a snake like that before. So I was fearful. And so this might be one of those trainings where you're trying to get people to get past their fear. Because the biggest part of fear is we struggle with fear versus uncertainty. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not just fear alone. Right. It's like
I'm
certain being where
I will tell you.
Yes.
That's one of the things I was remiss in telling you. I actually was afraid of lizards in the beginning.
Really?
Yes. But I didn't want to let my family know that I was afraid. So every time they knew I loved animals, but they didn't realize I was afraid of lizards. So they kept bringing me lizards.
Mm.
And I would take them. And I would stand there with them and hold them with that fear until I realized I got past it, overcame it.
And I love it too. I think that's amazing because at the end of the day, we as people, and I'm going to say people, period, whether you're connected to faith or not, but if you're a person of faith, and we encourage you that all of this stuff there's got to be a huge supreme being called God that's doing some amazing work, because you can't just say, I'm going to evolutionize and make this. That doesn't. And for everything to fall in place, the lizard doing what it does, the snake is doing what it's done, the turtle versus the tortoise. I mean, there's got to be a master designer.
That's right.
And a design.
Yes.
So we hope that this has been encouraging. I hope this has been something that fortifies it. Take the time to go and get exposed to life in nature.
That's right.
You know what I mean? If you haven't gone to the zoo, go to the zoo. If you hadn't had somebody bring a really great presentation, I recommend highly that you would get with Critter Mountain. And so the name of the company is Critter Mountain, right?
That's right. That's right.
You can Google it. You can get online and figure it out. The information is online right now. And I want you guys to take the time and Cash App. Let me give you the Cash App. It's Vaughn, VAUGHANA, as in Apple, Mountain, MOUTIN. So, take the time, Cash App him, say, hey, man, this was great. I learned some new stuff. I'm going to wash my hands. I feel like I can, like Spider-Man, I can stick on the wall or something.
I'm glad you said that.
Talk about it.
After you handle reptiles, you must always wash your hands. Now, I know my reptiles are good. Keep them clean, and I test them. I have a little kid that can test them. But people who own reptiles, be very careful because they go through periods. Each month may be different. And so they can and do carry the trait for salmonella. So you have to keep your hands washed. You have to keep them clean. Every time you touch a reptile, wash your hands. Every time. Frogs, tortoise, anything.
Any
like
type of
Any
species.
type. Yes.
Okay, that's good. That's great news. I will definitely do that as we transition to the music video. So listen, we hope you had a great time. I'm going to wash this down too.
Thank you.
And thank you so much for being our guest, man.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed yourself
I did.
at the spot where lives transform. Definitely. And so again, don't forget, Let me do this real quick. I'll just go ahead and just mention it. And next week, we will do our burning of our prayers. But we do a thing called God's mailbox. And if you would, maybe you can pray for my folk that are listening. And what it is simple. Our really good friend of ours who's part of ministries, the late sister Carlotta Dawes, she did a thing growing up, and she would take all of her prayers, all of her requests, right? And she would write them and express where she was in life and what she wanted God to do or wanted to take care of her family. So we've adopted it here. You just write down your prayers, whatever they may be, or your concerns, or your conversations, whatever it is, or your wish, or your needs on a little piece of paper. And we put it in an envelope, right? And then we seal it. And guess what? No one sees it. You don't see it. Once you seal it up, then you can either shred it. We have a little God's mailbox container, and we put all of them there. And at the end of each month, we pray on them, and then we pray, and then we burn them. Like back in the biblical days, they would burn their prayers at the Day of Atonement. They would all the priests would pray over all the prayers that were given to them, and then they would burn them, and it was sweet incense as unto the nostrils of the Lord. So we do a kind of an urban version of that, and that is we just burn the prayers as unto the Lord, and we thank God in advance for taking care of every one of our concerns or needs. So what we'll do is, if you want to do that, you can write that down. We'll give you a few minutes. We'll play just a smidget of music slowly because we don't want to scare the snakes. And if you would just give us prayer, and then let's go to, and we'll finale with this. We were at Flavor Fest. We're going to show you one of the interviews that we had, and we'll do one for every week until we get through all of them. We had quite a few. I want you to check out the interview that we had at Flavor Fest, and then we'll finale with one of our hip hop songs. And we hope you were blessed. Don't forget to tune in tonight, 9 p.m. every night, Saturday night, 9 p.m. DJ Scissorhands radio show, G93. On Sunday, you can tune in to the No More Dirty radio show at 5 p.m. on G93 and 6 p.m. on We Up. So, any closing words, man, you want to share?
Just remember when you're out there traveling, wherever it is, just take the time to look out the window, a tree or anything, clouds, and research God's character. It's in there for you.
Why don't you pray for our prayer requests, and then we'll go right into Flavor Fest, and then we'll see you on, or we'll do the replay on Monday at 7:30 on our YouTube page. So all of our content you can find on our YouTube channel, No More Dirty INC. All right, go ahead.
Kind loving God, we thank you for blessing us each and every day. We thank you for your wonderful art, the earth, this creation that you gave us so we may learn. Lord, as we know that there are others on this planet that we all need something. We all crave not just your love, but a desire to be healed, to love each other. And we ask that you would read what's on the hearts and minds of those that have given their message to you. We ask that you would bless them, put those hands that have created the world around them. Let them feel the love. Let them feel the care. We ask these and many other blessings in the worthy name, Lord. Amen.
Amen. So again, on behalf of the whole crew here, the session, Bible Beats and Bars, thanks for taking the time to hang out with us. This was quite unique. I think this was great. Shout out to my man, V-Man, the Arilla Driller tool. Back already. So we'll be right back. Hey, enjoy the show, and we'll see you on Monday for the replay, and then, of course, Wednesday, the No More Dirty TV show, and then on Friday again, and then several other things. So enjoy. Blessings. And on behalf of Professor X, myself, the rest of the crew's on vacation. Until next week, we'll be back in saddle. And peace.
Thank you.
Yo, what's up? What's up, everybody? It's your host, Minister Fred 2. No More Dirty TV, radios, the spot. Let me tell you, we here at the session Bible Beats and Bars. Man, Flavor Fest 2021. We got a dope veteran in the building. When I say
Yes, sir.
veteran,
Yes,
you'll
sir.
get to understand it. So, yo, man, introduce yourself. Like, I know who you are, but the thousands may not necessarily.
What's going on, y'all? This is DJ NOKK1. That's DJ NOKK, the number one. And man, it's a good thing to be here, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That Flavor
man.
Fest 2021. Just doing the thing. A lot of great performers, a lot of good, people that are ministering the word and it's the delivery of the message, you know what I'm saying? Just doing their thing, man. So I'm excited to be here.
Well, we are excited to have you on in the building of No More Dirty, right?
Yes, sir.
In the building of Cross.
Yes, sir.
You already know.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Crossover. So listen, let's talk about you, man. DJ Knock One. Where did you get the name, and why is it you dropped the C and add another K?
Yeah.
Like, what's the business like?
It's crazy. I mean, it all started when I was in high school, man. You know, when I first started spinning, I actually started spinning on two different style turntables. One was a belt drive and the other was direct drive. You know what I mean? So, but we make it happen. I got a mixer from my grandma. So I put everything together. And I got the name Knock One because I didn't know how to. When I first started, I didn't know how to manage my EQ. So it was always bass and everything. So as I was playing, people was like, "Yo, why the speakers knocking so loud?" So and I was stuck with it. It was like DJ Knock One. So that's how it came to be, man. You know what I mean?
dope.
So yeah. So once I started, learning how to do it, and then it just stuck with me, and it went from there.
So listen, I'm hearing you flow in your conversation, and I feel some type of Caribbean kind of way,
Yes.
something. West Indies,
Yeah.
Is that your background?
Yeah, man. I'm originally.
Then I hear some East Coast.
Yeah, absolutely. Born and raised in Trinidad and Tobago.
I should know.
I came over here when I was 12.
Okay.
And I'm actually, everybody from the islands came via whatever island to New York. So from New York to New Jersey, and that's where I basically got my starting from. From
Wow.
New Jersey. So
now you've been in this for a minute. So when did you really start DJing? Once you know what I mean? What was like? You got this is 2021. And like your name is people know who you are.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I'm originally in the house music industry, in the house music, world. That's where I first learned how to DJ was doing house,
Okay.
So DJing house. So right now I'm with a group called Tampa House Heads. But for me, I started basically in high school.
Yeah.
And we do like house parties, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah, that was a big thing.
Yeah, exactly. Back then, I don't know if you remember the movie Juice.
Yeah.
That's what helped push me into that realm, you know? And I wasn't really into too much beat battles and all that. I was just, my whole thing was wanted to make people stay on the dance floor.
Right.
And just dance and move out.
Keep the party going.
Exactly. Keep the party going. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I started, like I said, when I was in high school. Did a couple parties. Actually did one party for a friend in the basement, and it was funny because everything's in the basement, right? Basement's about house basements, So, and man, I had some how much? I think I had probably 10 records, and I spun over those 10 records the whole night.
The whole night,
bro. And because on the records they have different versions of the song,
and then you got A and B side.
Yes, exactly.
So you flip it.
I flip it over, exactly. And I did it for the whole night, and that's what basically got me going from that point on. Yeah.
So how did you go? So let me not assume. Were you always into Christian, or did you do secular before Christian? What was that like?
I'm a Pkwy's kid.
Get out of here,
Yeah,
bro.
so I'm a pastor's kid. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Okay.
So my granddad, of course, he was a evangelist back in Trinidad.
Okay.
Seeing my dad, he was a pastor too, so we had kind of followed on him. But growing up, I was always into music and stuff like that. Didn't really play too much instruments. I got a liking to the drums. I always liked the drums again because of the knocking,
Right.
So I was into drums and stuff like that. So I got into that aspect of getting into music through, church, in that sense. But yeah, I mean, my Christianity, as far as when it comes to music, basically is me being able to. I wanted to bring gospel house into the light. And so, people that listen like Kenny Bobian and so forth like that, those are the gospel artists of house. And I always used to rock that at parties, So that's how I got into Christian music.
It's so interesting because I remember of years ago, a few years back, you would have the dance and house music was a transition for hip hop.
Right, absolutely.
And then you had, then Shaba and all those guys.
Yeah.
A lot of that dance.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Dancehall, exactly.
So it was amazing to see the fusion of hip hop and dance,
absolutely,
reggae,
absolutely,
and house,
absolutely.
And so now how did you make the transition into the Christian hip hop slash?
And it wasn't hard. It wasn't hard.
I mean, the music is universal.
It's universal, exactly. And again, because of my Christian background,
right?
It was easy for me to basically transition over. It wasn't hard for me to because I pulled tracks that nobody else had at the time.
That's dope.
Because again, you had who was back then? The Kirk Franklins and all that stuff. And so you would have tapes, and you would run tapes, or we would run tapes over records.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we play with the pitch.
Yeah.
And the BPMs and run the tape and then run the record over it, and that's how we will mix.
What?
You know what I mean?
And
so
listen, that was on the fly.
That was on the fly, exactly.
It wasn't take one. Hold up, man. Let me
bro.
cut this and cut
Exactly.
paste. There wasn't no cut and paste, bro.
Exactly. And then of course, in the beginning you'll start train wrecking and all that stuff, but as you continue to do over and over again, you get the knack of it.
So what has been your greatest joys as a Christian DJ that does not only Christian hip hop, but the plethora, including house, tech, and dance?
It still is, again, and always have been the ability to see people respond to the music and choices that you make.
Right.
Being a good DJ does not necessarily mean you play music, but you're feeling the emotions, the transitions.
Right.
It's like you're actually speaking. Your message is through music.
Right.
So being a good DJ, knowing your selections, knowing who you're going to basically play and what moves the crowd.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that is like you're basically up there preaching.
Yeah.
At the same time, you know what I mean? So it to me, bro, that's my highlight, is to see people go from standing on the walls or conversing with people to responding to the music, responding to the choice of music that you're playing as well too.
So I want to do a couple more, and I'm gonna let you go because I know you got to get ready for the night, man. Because it's gonna be crazy turn up.
Yes,
tonight,
sir. Absolutely,
bro.
absolutely,
Bananas, bro.
Absolutely. KB's gonna do his thing. You know, they got a couple other artists that's gonna be performing.
Man.
Steve Malcolm. So
Steve Malcolm, bro. You got the whole. Man, all these dudes, bro.
Absolutely.
So listen, what has, in terms of now you pushing the movement forward through your DJing? What is your sole purpose in terms of ministry in reaching other DJs that are not where you are?
Wow, good question.
Because you know a lot of them.
Yeah.
You're in a lot of circles as we spoke behind.
Honestly, I am not actually for, I shouldn't say I'm not for, but my goal is not to reach out to existing DJs, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
My goal is to reach out to people that want to learn how to deliver music.
Okay.
And if they can learn how to deliver music or have a passion for DJing and want to learn, I had a couple of young kids that came up to me the other day. It was like, hey, I want to learn how to play. And the question to me is like, I was excited about it, but the Holy Spirit was like, okay, well, talk to them a little bit. Get an understanding of what they want to do. And getting an understanding of what they want to do, I was like, wow, I was compelled to be like, look, you know what? Come sit in one of my sessions, and be able to understand why I make the choices I play, why I play the way I play. Because like I said, there's other Christian DJs, like, no knocking them either, but they will come in and they'll play, battle music, battle rap, stuff like that. And they will play that type of music, and people like that. But then when you have people like myself that actually play choice music, and I'm not only just playing the music that makes you jump, I'm playing the music that makes you think.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That speaks to the heart.
So what's cool I'm hearing is that your ministry is being a curator of how music is orchestrated.
Yes, absolutely.
So that's almost like, knowing when and when not to.
That's right.
What to play, how to play.
That's right.
Whether to slow it or speed it up.
That's right. Absolutely.
Whether it be a turn up or a house party, or whether it be a club banger for Christ, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I just think that's amazing, man.
Yes.
So how can they get to it? Tell them about your all your social media contacts, because I think they should follow you.
Yes.
And then share. Y'all know how we do it at No More Dirty TV and radio. We share everything.
Absolutely.
What's up?
On my Instagram, you can follow me DJ_NOKK1. You can also follow me the same on Facebook. But that's basically it. I mean, you can reach out to me anytime. I'm not the type of person that would, respond to you like 2 months later. If you hit me up, I'm gonna hit you right back. So you know what I'm saying? So yeah.
Well, that's good. We got some save
Yes,
DJs
sir.
up in here, man. You're like, that dude ain't talked to me in 6 months.
Exactly. No response.
Absolutely,
Absolutely,
trying to stay
man.
saved here. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
Well, listen, man, we want to say we
Yes,
appreciate
sir.
you, man.
Yes, sir. No doubt, man.
We're looking forward to the night, man.
Absolutely,
I mean,
man.
man, yesterday you killed it,
Oh,
bro.
bro.
Look at me, bro.
Wow. Dude, let me tell you something, bro. I left here, bro. Oh man, it was on fire. I mean, I wish you guys could definitely be here in the building. It was amazing.
You got tonight. You could go to Facebook.
Yes, sir.
You could go whatever, but you go if you want to actually see the concert.
Yes,
you
sir.
can actually do it on demand at flavorfest.org. Just $20 for the night.
That's right.
You can just get the virtual experience. The concert starts 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
Of course, it's a pre-show. You'll hear, but you'll see 7 p.m. That's Eastern time, which is 6 p.m. on my time, Central Standard. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And so, any closing remarks, bro?
Love y'all, man. Just keep pushing. I mean, if you're a DJ or inspiring DJ, you want to learn, hit me up. Like I said, I'll be able to give you some pointers or direct you where you need to go. Other than that, man, the love for music is always there to inspire, to change, and just to bring, bring the vision forward of any person, of anything, any being. And that's what music is. It's celebrating freedom. You know what I mean? So, like I said, just be who you need to be, and just trust the God and everything, man. You'll be all right.
That's what's up. So there it is, DJ Knock One. He did knocked it again.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Right here, No More Dirty TV, Radio Inc. The session, Bible Beats and Bars, exclusive here at Flavor Fest 2021. Love you all. We're gonna get you more music on. We'll be right back.
All right.
Peace.
Together and bring the people what they want. There's always two sides, so make sure you realize it's God first, God last, and God always.
Ain't getting good, I'm getting better. Won't let them got us blessing my endeavors when I feel the pressure. So much pain I endure trying to hold it all together. It's a challenge trying to earn a living through the art of penning with a feather letter. Been reading out of time out, ain't trying to pull the best weather. Still think I rap with the whole nine. I gotta do better. 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 Yeah, I gotta do better. Lately, I feel all over. D-plays trying to keep straight when I'm proud of me when it's all over. Trying not to let these delays sway me, gotta keep focused. But it's difficult when you drop a project the most hardly notice. Any day when I'm out, somebody asks me, do I still rap? Try to take it and make a shot. In my opinion, I feel that artistically I'm on a different level. Rapping better now than I ever did, but the industry got me feeling like I hit my lid. Surrounded daily bodies problems, answers I haven't figured out, submerged at the bottom. And as I drown, I wither down, forgetting my foundation, constantly living by emotions, discouraged that I'm trying to walk by, but everything I see is broken. I'm surrounded by